Alright, hey, quick video here. I'm introducing a Q&A system in computer science classes this year, and the idea is to basically try to make class more interactive since we're not in the same room. A lot of people won't use their cameras, and I want a way to be able to pose questions to the class and have students answer them. Something more stylized than just using the chat window where everybody's messages come in jumbled together. I want people to be able to do things like, say, write a few lines of code and then send that in as an answer. And I want it to be a real-time system, so no email or anything. We're going to use a tool that I put together. It's just called Answer, and basically this tool is going to let me post questions to the class, and I'll tell the class, okay, so here's a question for you to answer. And what I want you to do is, while you're in your Zoom session, I want you to have a window open where you're logged into the server. And we'll talk about what that means. But if you're using SSH, you might do something like this. Alright, so I'll log in as myself. And it's a single command you need to run. Just go ahead and log into the server and just type the word answer. And that will start the answer program. And for the duration of the class, you should leave this running in a window. Okay. So you'll have your Zoom window up, you'll be watching, lecture, you'll see notes that I'm writing and so on, but somewhere keep this up, and when I post a question, right, I'll tell you there's a question, you can switch over to this window and go ahead and type in your answer. So you run this in the very beginning of class, you just say answer, and it will basically wait for a question to appear. Now I already have a question up here, and this is part of your first assignment is to answer this question. So up here you'll see the question posted, right? And the question is basically, what's your favorite color? Okay, you can type down here in this window, and it's just, you move around with your arrow keys as usual, and type. And so I'm just going to say, my favorite color is blue, but I also like some reds and greens. Alright, and then you want to submit this. Okay, there's a button down here at the bottom which says submit. You can click that with your mouse and that will submit. You can also hit a tab key and it will highlight submit. And then you can hit either a space bar or an enter bar. So a number of ways you can submit. Click on the submit button, hit tab space, or hit tab enter. And if you want to go back and type some more, just go ahead and hit the tab button again. So I'll just go ahead and use the mouse. I'll click on submit. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, it basically puts that answer up where I can see it, and then you go back to the screen where you're just waiting for another question, and you can go ahead and switch back to the Zoom window and so on and so forth. Alright, and if you are doing this from PuTTY, there's a trick you might need to know. So let me close out of this, and let me show you a trick. So let's say you're doing PuTTY. You're going to have your settings window like this, and I'll just go ahead and I'll open up to test. And we'll talk about how to connect to the server and so on. So test at linux.engrcs.com, and we'll open that up. And this is setting a really tiny window by default, but it wants my password, so I'll put that in. Okay, so let's say I want to run the answer dialog. Here I type answer, and it says waiting for a question. There's the question, there's a place to type the answer, but it's a kind of goofy looking display. It's got all these Q's and X's and things like that. Something's wrong there, right? Okay, let me show you how to set this up. So let's go back into PuTTY and come down here under Window and say Translation. And down here at the very bottom, Enable VT100 line drawing even if in UTF-8 mode. Click that. Okay, and now go ahead and go back to your session, and let's do the same one, test at linux.engrcs.com. We'll log into that. I'll make my window bigger again. Alright, so now if I say answer, you get a nice looking window. Okay, so that's just a trick that you want to be aware of if you're using PuTTY. Now, if you're just doing SSH from a Linux machine, it should work directly. If you do it from OS X, I believe it will work directly also, but if not, let me know. All right, that's the Q&A system, so we'll talk about that more in class, but there's a quick video to help you.